Hello, everybody. This week I'll be looking at 6 quarterbacks: Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, Mac Jones, and Davis Mills, and ranking them 1 through 6 on just how good of a player I think they are. Not how they did their rookie season statistically, not, it's kind of how I think they'll do in the future, I suppose. Like who I think has the most promising career going forward with what I've seen from them both last season and also what they did in college. I'm not completely writing off what I think they did there either. So that's the concept for this video. It's a long one, so I'm just going to get right into it. Let's start with number 6 and work our way to the top. At number 6, I have got Davis Mills. One thing that did bug me about Davis Mills on tape was the lack of aggressiveness on third down. Okay, so it's third down and long here. The first down marker is at the 43 right here. Okay, and we've got a dagger concept cooking at the bottom of the screen here. All right, with a clear out with the wide receiver in the slot and then a dig in behind it. All right, Miles Jack turns his hips to run with that clear out, and then you've got the dig, and I think there's going to be a window to potentially hit that. The pocket for Davis Mills is perfect, but he can't wait, and he just hits the check down without really giving that concept a chance. And I think it could have worked. And it's fourth down, and they have to punt. Here's another example on the sail concept and on this deep 9 route that Brandon Cooks is running. You're going to see the corner just kind of stutter his feet in the back pedal and really try to protect the sticks on this third and long. All right, so he's not really getting depth quickly. Brandon Cooks is a really fast wide receiver. Third and long again. I think you take that shot. I think it would have worked. And he thinks about it, but he doesn't take it. And Brandon Cooks gets open there. All right, and Davis Mills is still holding onto the ball. Works to the other side of the field and does a nice job creating some yards here, but again, pretty conservative to hit the comeback route for a 5-yard gain when I think a big chunk play was available for him on this third and long. One more example from this on a 3rd and 11. All right, looking at just kind of the zones that look the best to throw to pre-snap, right in the middle here, and then kind of in this whole shot here. The first place he looks is in the middle of the field to Jordan Akins, the tight end, but it's a simulated pressure, and this defensive tackle takes that window away. I think after he sees that, he should move on to the next read, which is kind of a high-low situation, putting this cornerback in conflict here. You've got a big area to throw. This cover 2 safety here to the field is getting a lot of depth. I think that taking this shot to Collins on a 3rd and 11 is justified right now after this defensive tackle takes the initial window away. And if you don't love it, if you think that this guy's getting too much depth or can pick it off, or you don't trust the safety, hit the curl. But instead, he's stuck with that tight end route, and then once it's not there, just right to the check down. And I think that there were just a little bit, I'd like to see some quicker reads there, and I think there were some more reads to make instead of just hitting the 5-yard easy pass on a 3rd and 11. It doesn't really do much for you. Alex is a stat that measures how far in front of the sticks does the average pass go on third down. And Davis Mills is one of 5 quarterbacks who had a negative Alex, which means the average pass on third down does not go past the sticks. And he joins the prestigious quarterbacks of Sam Darnold, Jared Goff, Teddy Bridgewater, and Andy Dalton in this negative zone. And that's just not a good area to be at. So that was a little disappointing to see, but there were some positives with Davis Mills, and I liked his accuracy. I liked his touch, especially on the deep ball. On this play, it's first down, and it looks like a cover 1 situation, and that's safety. It's a backup, and he's all the way on the other side of the field, so he knows he's got Chris Conley one-on-one on this vertical route, and this is kind of a dime, right in the breadbasket, touchdown. I like this play a lot from Mills, all right? We got 2 deep crossers off of play action, try to mix up the linebackers. It does. All right, he's drifting away from the pressure from Smoot here, just subtly navigating this pocket, going left, keeping his hips pointed downfield in a position to throw while doing that. And as soon as 88 clears his man here, he pulls the trigger, he makes a throw. He's got to loft it over number 5. He can't throw it too far in front of Akins here because then this corner can pick it off, and he can't throw it behind him and let this linebacker make a play on it. So that window is small. And on the move, he nails the throw. Great stuff there from him. There are some plays I saw where I thought, okay, maybe this guy doesn't have like the biggest arm in the whole wide world. However, it's certainly good enough, and he doesn't just need to have his feet planted to make the throw. I saw him make some nice throws off of weird platforms. The Jaguars bring an all-out blitz on this one. He's kind of got to fade away, throw off his back foot, and this is an amazing throw. All right, deep down the field. So I do think that the Texans might have something in Davis Mills, and I do agree with his decision to let him start this year and not try to replace him through the draft, but he's got to stop doing stuff like, from a clean pocket, throwing the football away on third down. Yeah, just can't do it. So Mills was kind of a pleasant surprise, but I wouldn't say with my chest that I feel much better about his future than any of the other rookie quarterbacks or second-year quarterbacks, I suppose. So he's here at number 6 still. At number 5, I have got Zach Wilson of the Jets. There are some bright spots in Zach Wilson's season that makes you excited for his future. This game against the Buccaneers is one that I would point to, right? Lots of tight window throws in between intermediate defenders down the middle of the field. There's not a lot of quarterbacks who can actually hit throws like this consistently on straight dropbacks, and he was doing it in this game against a pretty good defense. I like this throw from Wilson a lot. They start in a one-high look. The defense starts in a one-high look, but they change post-snap, and it turns into more of a cover 4 type of deal here. All right, deep quarter, deep quarter, deep quarter, deep quarter. Once this linebacker flips his hips and runs, Zach Wilson knows that there's only going to be one middle-of-the-field hook defender here, and he's got a crossing route coming in behind him. Now, he's also got this wide receiver pretty open in the flat, but it's first down and 20 in the fourth quarter, and Wilson wants to be more aggressive than that. Here he starts the throwing motion. The wide receiver is not open yet, but Wilson understands that he's going to be. He wants to be aggressive, and he throws over the middle of the field. Wide receiver comes open. It's very accurate, and they pick up a first down on first down and 20. I really like to see all of that. Great stuff. He also flashed some of that raw talent that made him such an attractive prospect. Like on this play, Keelan Cole streaking down the field on the scramble drill. It's one thing to have that open. It's another thing to actually hit it, moving to your right 55 yards down the field. And if that bomb wasn't enough for you, he hit another one in this Titans game, all right? Once again, rolling to his right. This one's a designed bootleg. I could argue that he should just take this throw to Keelan Cole on the sideline here. I think there's enough separation to make that happen. But Zach Wilson is not satisfied with that. He's motioning, go deeper, go deeper, go deeper. Get downfield. It's first down, by the way. It's first down. And then he just bombs this downfield, lofts it over these two defenders, and right into the hands of Corey Davis. An insane touchdown throw by Zach Wilson there. That being said, though, those moments, those big plays happened far less than I think that Jets fans expected and hoped that they would. This play where he buys time and finds a wide open Corey Davis in the end zone is the only other 15-plus yard touchdown that he threw the entire season. Zach Wilson's biggest weakness is exactly what I feared it would be coming out of college, and that was the fact that in his breakout season at BYU, that was the COVID year, which means they didn't have to play any Pac-12 opponents. Because of this, they were playing some poverty defensive lines, and Zach Wilson was basically out there playing 7-on-7 with all day to throw most of the time. I was worried that he would not really be able to function in the constantly collapsing and tight pockets of NFL football. And I think it's fair to say that Zach Wilson's pocket presence and poise left a lot to be desired in year one. On this play, all right, given what this pocket looks like, I don't think it's unreasonable to expect him to kind of subtly navigate the pocket here. Maybe drift to his left a little bit, stay in that throwing window, and stay in a position to throw this ball. But instead, he panics and backpedals and kind of takes away any avenues to throwing this football. He goes about 20 yards behind the line of scrimmage here, and then eventually ends up taking a 10-yard sack when he could have thrown this away the moment that he got out of the pocket. And he makes this field goal much tougher on his kicker because this was third down. All right, they started at about the 20. This throw, I think, is another decent example of that because pretty early on in this play, I think that he's going to realize he has Braxton Berrios open on a drag route over the middle, and I think he has a window to make this throw, right? But he doesn't make the throw. He doesn't just pull the trigger right away. His eyes then go to the pass rush, right? Take him off the receiver, and worry about the edge rusher, all right, which just is going to mess everything up just because, the more your head moves, I think the less likely you are to throw an accurate ball. And even once he gets his head around here, I think that you could start maybe drifting off to your left if you're Zach Wilson here and kind of drift away from that pressure and get an easier window to throw through. But he just kind of has alarm bells going off immediately, and it's just like, I got to throw. And it's not an accurate ball, and it's a little bit of a hospital ball because I think he threw it late because he's just a little bit too worried about the pressure here. So overall, I think that there are some flashy moments from him and some games where I'm pleasantly surprised. And I don't think, despite the horrible statistical season, you're looking at a Josh Rosen type of disappointment where they should already be looking to move on from him. But overall, my concern with him coming out of school was, I don't know if he's going to be able to handle NFL pressure and NFL pockets. And he really wasn't able to his rookie year. So I can't really find a reason to adjust my take on him pre-draft. So he's still slotted in here at 5th. At number 4, I've got number 1. That's Justin Fields. My main concern with Fields is the same concern that I had with Zach Wilson, and that is that when I watched him in college, I'm like, I'm not sure about his poise, pocket presence. I think he takes some bad sacks. And those issues really reared their ugly head with both of them in the league, all right? Here's a bad sack from Fields, and I kind of like the way he reads this out, right? Hits the top of his drop. Reading the boundary corner route here, but I think he thinks that this corner is getting proper depth. Harrison Smith is ready to drive on that. He moves on. It's fair. He moves on right as the dig is breaking inside, but there's 3 guys in the throwing lane. Eric Kendricks is roboting, right? He moves on again. And this is where I think he should just take this into the flat and get David Montgomery one-on-one with this corner. Could be a decent chunk play, but he does not. All right, he tries to make something happen with his legs, and then when the edge breaks off and cuts that off, instead of throwing it away, he starts running backwards, and on second down, takes a massive loss and makes it 3rd and impossible. Or this 4th down, all right, when he starts the bootleg and sees the corner with outside leverage on Mooney, who's running into the flat, I think he kind of gives up on it. And at that point, you got to be decisive. If you don't want to throw it to Mooney, just throw it up to somebody or tuck it and run straight ahead or try to get the edge. But he's just indecisive, just kind of running around, not sure what to do. At this opportunity, I think you could just make a very quick throw and see what can happen if you give him a jump ball. But he doesn't do that. He kind of lowers his shoulder and tries to chuck somebody. I think you got to make a throw in that situation. I don't care to who. No one is really that open, and I don't love the play design, but, right, this is just nothing. This doesn't give anybody any kind of chance. On this play, the Bears are doing a bad job running mesh. Check out the 2 receivers in the middle of the field, kind of a miscommunication there. They kind of run into each other. It's messy, but luckily Fields doesn't even need to read the middle part of this because he is just going to throw to his first read, which is David Montgomery on a wheel, and really good accuracy to keep this away from the linebacker, hit him back shoulder for a nice chunk play. There's a couple reasons why I think Fields has a better future than Zach Wilson. First of all, I think that Fields is more athletic. He's bigger. He's stronger. In my opinion, he's got the more powerful arm, although it's close. And I think that he's the better runner, as demonstrated by this insane creative play against the 49ers. Like, it's him and Lamar Jackson who I trust to actually score a touchdown on that play. I mean, Fields is probably the fastest player on the Bears offense. On top of that, he has a powerful arm, can make throws from a variety of different platforms and arm angles. Like, he looks like an MVP candidate out there when he is on. Like, it is so clear to see what a monster he could one day become with his physical profile. And although Fields is far from a picture of poise, I do think that the game is a little bit slower to him than Zach Wilson, which makes sense, right, considering where they both went to school and the competition that they're both used to. I mean, look at this throw. That's pretty high level. I really do see the vision on Fields, but he's a big game hunter. He always wants to put something on a highlight reel and make these crazy throws and do these crazy plays. And just a lot of the times it goes poorly more than it goes well. And it's not really a sustainable way to play, especially when the Bears offense is what it is. That style of play and that mentality can make you an unstoppable quarterback in the league, but you do need a good supporting cast to be able to pull it off. Otherwise, it's just going to be a mess all the time like it was last year for Fields. And the Bears have just done a horrible job surrounding Fields with talent. So I'm very concerned about his development in a situation like this, and I'm worried that he will just never reach his ceiling. I'm not super high on his future, but I am decently high on it. He is better than his stats look. At number 3, I've got Patriots quarterback Mac Jones. I like Mac Jones. I think he's going to be a good player for a long time. Smart guy, kind of system-y, but that's not a bad thing. On this play, it looks like cover 1 to begin, pre-snap, but then post-snap, it turns into cover 2. This original route, which is kind of like a corner post, would be a good man beater, but that's not really viable. And once this changes, it's taken away, but Mac Jones isn't just like, oh, where's my check down? Where's my check down? Where's my check down? No, he steps up in the pocket and finds the backside dig and is able to pick up the first down. All right. The Browns game was probably the best example of what he could be, right? He was picking them apart, punishing the defense for whatever they tried to do to him, and it wasn't always sexy, but it got the job done, right? Here they're going to mug up the A gap. Looks like this could be a big blitz, trying to make him nervous, trying to make him second guess himself, right? They end up not blitzing, dropping guys back in coverage, but his eyes are instantly in the right place. Immediately, they just go right to his tight end, who's breaking outside here. JOK can't get enough depth towards the sideline to take this away just because of the way he was lined up. And he's able to just get an easy first down, right? Punishing them for how they lined up. It wasn't a crazy play, but it punished them. Later in the drive, they walk another linebacker up, but they actually rush him, and then he just hits the slant. And then to cap off the drive, he sees it's man coverage at the goal line. So this wide receiver is going to break back inside. Corner is going to have to follow him, which means there's going to be no underneath player, and you're going to have Hunter Henry one-on-one breaking this outside. Right there, he begins the process of the throw. Before Henry is close to open, lofts it up, perfect placement, touchdown. Here, the Browns start out in a too-high look, but he motions Hunter Henry inward, and the following kind of adjustment lets him know that this is going to be man coverage, and sure enough, that safety spins down. He looks at Hunter Henry, who is trying to run a man-beating concept over the middle of the field, but he kind of gets pressed and covered up, so his eyes move to the backside concept. He steps up in the pocket and is able to hit Kendrick Bourne on that backside dig once he clears this linebacker, and it's an accurate throw for another first down. This play, again, the Browns look like they might be bringing cover 0 here. All of these guys could rush, and he's got to make a quick decision. Now, that ends up not happening, but he decides very early that he just wants to take this one-on-one fade to Jakobi Meyers at the bottom of the screen. So he gets the snap, ends up not being cover 1, but he likes the look anyway. Puts this perfectly towards the sideline, so Meyers has lots of room to kind of adjust to this. And bang, it's a perfect throw. So far, the Browns have tried a lot of pre-snap disguises to try to fool the rookie into making a bad decision, but he hasn't really done it. And on this one, they're pretty static, just like, we're going to make you make a good throw. Single high safety, pre-snap, it looks like these are the areas of the field that are going to be open that you want to attack. And they don't really do anything post-snap to take those away, right? There's a slot kind of fade going up the seam here. It's well covered. And Mac Jones just has to make a fantastic throw to fit it in there before the safety can get there. Puts it up in a place where only Kendrick Bourne can get it. Kendrick Bourne does get it, lands in the end zone, touchdown. I actually think that there is a miscommunication by the Browns linebackers here. 44 rushes off the edge. All the defensive backs kind of drop back into deeper zones, which means there's only 2 intermediate defenders, 4 and 51. And you kind of got to stay on each side of the field if you're them, I think. They're both pointing at each other, not totally sure who to take. 4 is saying, you stay over here, I think. But they both end up kind of bracketing Hunter Henry, which would hypothetically leave 86 wide open over the middle. But Mac Jones targets Hunter Henry here, and that precision is just perfect. So that game showed that Mac Jones can just tear you up from the pocket, and he's just going to get better and better at that as time goes on. And I do think that he can create a little bit with his legs. He's a little bit more mobile than people give him credit for, I think. However, with that all being said, and that's all very good, his ceiling is lower than the other quarterbacks. Like on this play, for example, I think it showcases why he has below average arm strength. This receiver on the crossing route versus the cover 0 has leverage, has separation. And if this is a bullet, I think that Mac Jones can take advantage of that. But he kind of has to loft his throws, and they take a little bit to get there. And it lets these corners have an extra half second to catch up and break up passes like this, whereas a guy like Justin Fields could maybe just laser beam that in there. Being able to create in structure is probably the most important thing, and Mac Jones has it, right? But if you can do that and create outside of structure, well, those are the quarterbacks who can really elevate a roster. And I showed you plays earlier where Zach Wilson rolled out to his right, became a scramble drill, the wide receiver cut up field, and he threw it 55 yards for a touchdown, right? On this play, this is Hunter Henry. He's got 2 yards of separation on this corner. If you put this out in front of him, this could be a big play in a scramble drill. Mac Jones is rolling to his right. Like I said, Zach Wilson hit 2 of these against the Titans games for like a combined 110 yards. But Mac Jones throws this and can barely get it like 30. At number 2, I'm going with Trey Lance, all right? It doesn't scare me that he didn't start this year. I think it's a very similar situation as Alex Smith starting over Patrick Mahomes for a year, right? Trey Lance has about as little experience at playing quarterback as you can have for a top 5 pick. Super raw player. Jimmy Garoppolo is okay. Good enough to get that team to the NFC Championship game, right? Same situation. Let Trey Lance learn for a year. That was always the plan. And that was the plan with a lot of great quarterbacks in the league in this era. Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, Tom Brady, guys like Steve Young. None of them started their rookie year. It's okay. A year of development is okay. In fact, it's probably good for a quarterback, honestly. And you might think like, oh, why haven't they named him the starter for next year? Do they not like him? Is he underwhelming? Like, probably not. They probably just want to like not tank Jimmy Garoppolo's trade value by just designating him as their backup. And he's got a shoulder issue anyway, so that's probably why the trade market for him was a little cool. When do you think that it's more likely that Jimmy Garoppolo gets traded for like a high draft pick? Right now, when the draft has happened, there's no major injuries anywhere in the league. Everybody's probably decently happy with their roster, except for maybe the Browns, but that suspension hasn't even come down yet. Or is Jimmy Garoppolo's trade value going to be higher 4 months from now when Aaron Rodgers goes down or Tom Brady goes down or some other starting quarterback goes down for a contending team and they need someone who could maybe hold them over so they can still make the playoffs? Then Jimmy Garoppolo would have a lot of value, I would think. So, yeah, that's when it makes sense to trade Jimmy Garoppolo. I think that they're fine with Lance being the starter, and I'm really excited to see what Kyle Shanahan can do with the guy. I find all these anti-Trey Lance reports, and there have been several this offseason talking about how Kyle Shanahan doesn't think he's developed and things like that. I find them also weird because last offseason everybody was raving about him during training camp, and then he played like at certain points during the season, and I thought he looked pretty good. It's not like we're talking ourselves into somebody who had like a ridiculous sack rate, didn't show any poise, threw like 8 interceptions in 3 games or something like that, and just looked horrible. Like, we're talking about someone who looked half decent in the games that he played in. Like, was he perfect? No. But, I mean, you could have done a lot worse. Does he have some accuracy issues? Yes. But I've seen Cam Newton win an MVP, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen is an elite quarterback right now. Like, you can do enough in other areas to overcome that for sure. And I think Kyle Shanahan's system, he will. And then we've got my favorite quarterback from last year's draft class, Trevor Lawrence. The thing I think really separates Trevor Lawrence from all the other rookies in this class is his feel for pressure and his ability to navigate it. Even if you have him dead to rights, he always manages to somehow slip away. But he's not scared to stand in the pocket and face pressure either. On this play, Christian Barmore beats his center and is bearing down on Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is waiting for Laquan Treadwell to get in range. He's running like a deep crossing route. There is no safety getting a ton of depth to this area of the field. He's waiting, and then as he's getting hit, he uncorks one of the best passes of the entire year to Laquan Treadwell. But if you can believe that, it may not have even been the best throw from that game, all right? And this might not be the best play to show right after I say he's not afraid to stand in the pocket, because on this one, he kind of leaves the pocket unnecessarily. But I literally think that he is trying to instigate a scramble drill, because this one safety is playing so far back that Like, I think he thinks like all of this is just wide open and wants to target that area of the field with no routes developing in that one area of the field. But once the scramble drill starts, you see Marvin Jones start tearing downfield. And then he throws this jump pass basically off his back foot before this high safety can get down and lofting it perfectly over the underneath defender in a tiny window on the sideline. I mean, that throw is just bonkers. Again, I'm not totally sure why he just immediately bails out of this pocket, but I literally think he just wanted this to go into scramble drill mode before uncorking that pass. This is the first game of his career, and the Texans run 2 stunts, and they both work, and there's pressure off both edges. And Trevor Lawrence steps up, maintains a wide base, and throws an absolute missile in a hole in the zone to DJ Chark. On this play, he wants Marvin Jones on a curl, right? And that's the first place he looks. He goes to throw it. I think he's worried that the edge rusher is going to get his hands up in the air and block his pass because he has the most intense pump fake ever on this play. Or maybe it was just too easy for him and he wanted to try the same pass falling down, and he hits it. The Bears, the Jets, the Texans, the Jaguars, none of these are great situations for rookie quarterbacks, but the Bears led the league in sacks taken. The Jets were 4th. Texans are up there too. But Trevor Lawrence, despite having the worst situation of them all, was heading a unit that really did not take all that many sacks in 2021, and I think that's super impressive. And on top of that, when people would bring up like the best arm strength in this class, it was a loaded class in terms of talent. So people would talk about Wilson, they would talk about Fields, they would talk about Lance, and yes, they all have great arms, but Trevor Lawrence really might have the best of all of them, all right? Here's a crossing route. Both of these linebackers are roboting back to get to it. Trevor Lawrence is going to throw this, what? That's 15, 20, over 20 yards in the air, probably 30 if you count diagonally. I mean, this ball has no arc on it whatsoever. This is a frozen rope over these 2 defenders' heads and into the arms of his wide receivers here. That's crazy arm strength. And I'm truly giving him a pass for his stats this year. This is one of the worst situations I've ever seen for a quarterback. Not only was there no culture, or at least no good culture there, I mean, they would sabotage themselves with these route concepts and the spacing on them. Just erase wide receivers for no reason because of how they would run things. Lawrence may not have even scored a touchdown in a lot of the games that I've pulled clips from, but I don't care. When I watch him, I see someone who's controlling the line pre-snap, making good reads, moving in the pocket well, and on top of all those intangibles, has insane talent and a really high athletic ceiling and can make any throw on the football field at any time from any platform. So I'm extremely high on him, and I don't think there's 15, 16 quarterbacks in the league that are even better right now. So yeah, that is my list of the top 6 second-year quarterbacks. Let me know what you think in the comments. And keep in mind that I'm not out on any of these players. I don't think any of them are busts yet. Even guys I ranked low, like Mills and Wilson, those can still very much be franchise guys. I totally see the vision with how they could be in just the terms of likelihood. They're just below some of these other ones. I still think it could shape up to be a really good rookie class, despite how bad most of them were statistically. And overall, I'm excited to see what they do in the future. So thank you so much for watching. This was kind of a longer one, and I will see you next week.